What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So welcome to the 48-hour group build video, and this whole video is about my progress on the 48-hour group build. So we're gonna go ahead and show you the time right now. It's 7 minutes past 8 o'clock here on Friday the 24th. And we're just going to get started. We already washed the parts last night, so the parts already washed and are completely dry. And basically tonight, only on Friday, since it is 8 p.m., tonight is the only day we're going to do assembly. So we're going to get this whole kit assembled, sanded, basically get as much things assembled before paint, of course, like the engine block halves and chassis, or whatever we have to do before paint and stuff. And then tomorrow, our goal is for Saturday is just painting day. We're just going to get everything in paint, and then do a little bit of assembly on Saturday night, and then Sunday is a full day of assembly and detailing and stuff. So let's go ahead and show you some of my plans. So again, this is the Pontiac, the 1970 Pontiac GTO super stocker race car from MPC. And finally, I was really debating on the colors. I was going back and forth with colors because this is like a race car you can basically just take on your own way. You don't have to replicate like a real car, just make your own version of it. And I was just going back and forth on decals, numbers, paint scheme, and it's just, oh my gosh. But it finally hit me. So we're gonna do like a two-tone paint job. So the main body color is gonna be, we're gonna paint it in navy blue from Tamiya. I'm not sure we're gonna use a spray can. We might just use the spray can, to be honest, just make it a little bit easier and a little bit faster for us. I'm not sure, or else I might just decant it and use my airbrush. But the main body cover is going to be navy blue, and then the second cover, the secondary color, we're going to do the roof and maybe the trunk area back here. We're going to do that in, well, Tamiya titanium gold. This is going to be a really cool contrast, and yeah, this is going to be a really cool paint scheme with the navy blue and titanium gold. The accents is pretty cool. So that's that, and then the wheels. Well, these are tires, but the wheels we're going to do in plain white. We're going to do like an off-white on the wheels. So we're going to have like basically like a three-tone paint job kind of thing. So yeah, the wheels will be doing white. And then the decals, I was trying to debate on the decal numbers and stuff. I actually found a set in my decal bin, parts bin, and check this out. That is just perfect. I mean, this cannot be a better match. I believe this is from another MPC super stocker kit. I think it was like a Pinto or whatever heck it was on race car, and I just never used the decals because I used different ones. But this is perfect because these are gold letters with the white outline. It's gonna match the wheels, and then the gold is gonna match the titanium gold. This is gonna be really cool. So this can't be a better match. So we're going to use the numbers. Of course, these are the door numbers. We're going to use a roof one. We might use like a number on a trunk. I'm not sure, but there's a bunch of numbers there. And of course, we got little sponsors. Again, I'm not taking this build like a main sponsor build, so we're just going to have little tiny sponsors on the fenders and stuff. You know, like Pennzoil and stuff. So just got little sponsors here and there. But again, this is not like we're not doing like a main race car. This is a local track racer, so local track racers don't have big sponsors. We might sand off these hood pins on the trunk and the hood and use 3D printed ones, but other than that, that's pretty much the only modification we're gonna do this kit. We're gonna basically keep this kit majority box stock, but we're gonna wire the engine and plumb it and stuff as much as possible. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. Our next update will show you what our progress is when everything is basically ready for paint. So it is 8:11, and we're gonna go ahead and cut the video right now, and we'll come back and show you the time and when we're ready for paint, which is gonna be hopefully Saturday morning. Alrighty, so we are back for our second update on our modified race car, and is currently 11:40 almost, and we got quite a bit done, and it's pretty much ready for paint right now. Now this kit is very nice. It actually went together pretty well for this sub-assembly. There's a little bit of flash here and there, but not too big a deal. Nothing like Exacto blade can do. A little bit of sanding and scraping with the blade as well, with the Exacto blade. But let's go ahead and take the body off. We got a roll cage in here that's kind of sticking to the body, so let's go ahead and show you that first. Roll cage went together very well. Just a little bit of flash here and there. I'm not sure, some certain kits might have more, but at least mine wasn't too bad. But the roll cage went together pretty well. Parts were kind of want to spread out just a little bit while glue's drying, so just add a little piece of dab of super glue, and that way it will just stay there at least, and that way the cement can actually weld the parts together. But yeah, this looks pretty good. Got the petty bar in there. That looks pretty cool. You got a little headrest in there. That is pretty neat. But yeah, so the roll cage turned out pretty good. I'm really happy how that thing turned out. Let's go ahead and show you the rest of the chassis. So here is the chassis, and the chassis again turned out pretty good. It's a two-piece chassis, so you get your front clip and you get your rear clip. There's two mounting holes, so make sure you do choose the right one. It's the one that's the closest to the edge on this side. So pretty cool, and that went together pretty well. And don't forget this piece, because the instructions had that isn't in there, and I could not find it. And it literally looks like it's a part of the sprue tree. It looks weird in the when it's mounted to the sprue, so make sure you keep an eye on that. But this glues back there pretty well. And then of course the front end we glued as much as possible. So we got the like engine bay thing you want to call it, like roll bar you want to call it, in there, and then we got our more suspension stuff. All that looks pretty good. We're going to do this in the same chassis color with the steering, so we got that. And when I paint this, I'm gonna do it in aluminum, because it has all this aluminum plating and stuff back here as well. And then I'm gonna mask this off, to mask off the aluminum and stuff on the interior as well. And then the chassis, everything else with the chassis, we're gonna do it in the roll cage color, or the chassis color. So, but yeah, this is all exposed aluminum, so we're gonna do this all aluminum stuff. And then yeah, so mask off, and not too big a deal. It looks pretty cool. All riveting looks really good. So be very careful when you're sanding some parts, because the rivets are very fine. But yeah, they're there, and they look pretty cool, and it adds character to the chassis. So there's that. Let's go ahead and show you the body real quick. The body looking fantastic. It's come big. There's quite a bit of mold lines. One big one right here on the B pillar, and it comes way down here. So make sure you keep an eye on that. Sand that down. There's some pretty sharp edges on this body. Like up here, this is pretty sharp. I sanded it down, but it's actually not a big deal. It was supposed to be like that. So, but yeah, just keep an eye on that, and just sand down the fenders and stuff, because they're pretty sharp. So just sand them down a little bit, because it might be a mold line. There's a back definitely there was a mold line there on both sides. So sand that down a little bit. But yeah, the whole body turned out pretty good. The front clip, there's a little bit of flash in the grill area. Again, not too big a deal. Blades, and also there's some flashing down here, took care of. So a little bit of flashing. The body took about, I don't know, about 45 minutes to an hour to get cleaned up and stuff. The hood had quite a bit of flash as well, so it's not a big deal. It's typical MPC, round 2 models type deal. So I spent on the body alone probably almost an hour. So but hey, turned out pretty good. I do want to make sure this is completely sanded, and obviously I do want to make this look like it's actually I spent multiple hours on this thing. But yeah, the hood turned out pretty good. I did sand off the hood pins, and I will be I gotta get a new set of hood pins painted up right here. Got the chrome. We're gonna paint these in chrome and stuff, so we got some 3D printed hood pins we're gonna be putting on this bad boy. But yeah, looks pretty good. And then the hood fits perfect, so that's pretty cool. And then body color, this little clip back here, it goes under the bumper. It's a hole here and stuff, and it just kind of slides in. So that's gonna be body color. So that looks pretty cool. So yeah, that's that for that. For body color, I didn't mention tell you my body color, but here is the navy blue we're doing, and then here is the titanium gold. So this will be the next part of this video, me painting the body and stuff. The engine, we got the engine assembled, and we're going to do it in the Pontiac engine color. So we got this blue right here, from a Vallejo, but it's a little bit too dark, so we're going to add some white to it to lighten up a little bit. But yeah, it's like this really cool like we want to call it like a greenish bluish color. So we're going to paint the engine in that, and then we got 3D printed distributor we're going to put in here, and then we're wire it up and stuff. So that's that for the engine. Wheels we're going to do white, pure white. So that's that. In the exhaust we're going to do in white as well, but we're not going to do any clear coat on matte, semi-gloss on matte. We're going to do these some kind of texture. So we got this I'm not sure what this stuff is called, I forgot the name of it, but it's like this powdered stuff. You can see it's very, very fine. So I'm going to paint the exhaust, and also this is the main exhaust that goes through the interior. So we're going to paint it in the flat white from Tamiya. And while it's still wet, I'm going to dip it right in this stuff, and has that texture stuff, and then we'll put on our coat of white on there, so that way it looks like it's been powder coated, the exhaust. So that's that. And the same thing for the dry shaft. Well, we're going to do the same as the wheels, not going to powder coat the dry shaft or wheels, but yeah, so pretty cool for the exhaust. Then we got some bunch of metal visor colors from Outcrad. We got a couple. We got aluminum, just bare matte regular aluminum, and the most popular part is going to be dull aluminum, and this is going to be all of the plating. So we're going to do all of the plating, aluminum plating in dull aluminum. That goes for the firewall, everything for the shroud, for the exhaust shroud. So all of the aluminum plating, and that goes the same for the chassis aluminum. We're going to do this all in dull aluminum, because I'm sure it's not like shiny aluminum. It's probably been dulled down. And then the quick change we're going to do that in dark aluminum, just so it has that contrast. Then we got some steel here, titanium gold, different titanium gold. It's a little bit different. This is Vallejo, and it's gonna be it's definitely a different tone than Tamiya. So this is definitely more like a goldish. So we're gonna be doing that. So that's that. And then for the bumper, for the rear bumper, and this tiny front push bar that goes on the front, like basically where the grill is, we're gonna do that in high shine polish aluminum. So it kind of has that aluminum look. I don't want to do it in chrome. The only thing we're doing in chrome is, like I mentioned, the hood pins, and we're going to do the valve covers in chrome, just so the engine has a little dressed up. So we're going to do that in chrome, but that's the only thing that's going to be chrome in this car, since it is a race car. So, but yeah, pretty cool. So let's go ahead, and we're going to take you guys to my paint booth, and we're going to go ahead and get this thing in paint, and then yeah, it should turn out pretty cool. So we'll see you guys over there. Alrighty, so we're back for another update. Painting went smoothly, which is fantastic. We'll show you the body here in a little bit, but I want to show you the chassis. This is an absolutely fantastic chassis. I did say I did want to wire and detail this thing as much as possible within the 24-hour range bonus model, and I think it was pretty cool. So we wired the engine a little bit. I got some fuel lines going in there with the fuel filter. We got radiator hoses. Now this kit only has one radiator hose, which is the top radiator hose, and it does not have the bottom one, but there is a water pump down there where you can put a hose on there. So I added a by the line bottom radiator hose down there. Looks pretty cool, and of course the top one is too by the line because they get clean some heat and stuff. And of course this is like a street car engine, so it has a slot for where the heater hose used to be. So that is probably like an oil hose now. I looked at pictures of some of these dirt modifieds, so they turn out into oil hose or whatever, so oil cooling hose. So got some more brighter lines going down there, so looks pretty cool. The exhaust looks fantastic. That turned out really good. Of course we did it in white, and I showed you that powder stuff. I did that powder stuff on there. Look like it's like has that texture to it, like powder coated. There we go, like a powder coated exhaust, and it looks so cool. I'm really happy how it turned out. And of course matte clear, so it seals it all in. But yeah, that thing turned out really good. I'm really happy about that. We got a part filter on still, but we're gonna do that after we put the body on. But yeah, the engine bay turned out really good. I'm really happy about that. And of course we got some brake lines going from a big booster down to the chassis. I'm not sure I'm gonna add them to the wheels, but we'll see. But yeah, that thing turned out really cool. Speaking of interior, there is our interior. Looks pretty cool. We did our technique with the black texture, black on the seat, and then of course regular black on the back of it. So it has that cloth look to it, like back in the day. You do have a headrest built into the roll cage, so we did that in rubber black. So yeah, this whole thing turned out pretty good. My kit was actually missing the steering column, or the steering shaft you want to call it, so I just made that out of regular tubing, like actual metal rod tubing. So that looks pretty cool. But yeah, that thing turned out pretty good, and yeah, that crazy exhaust did it the whole way down. Of course we're gonna do some black wash on the inside, or paint it inside black, so it has that depth. But yeah, that looks so cool. I've never seen a car with exhaust going through the firewall to the engine, to the interior. Looks so cool. And here's our tunnel we're gonna put in. I don't want to put this in yet because I just want to show this off before I just seal it all in. But yeah, just don't seal it in. Our rear mirrors can go on there. Of course we weathered the interior a little bit, so we use N.Y.S. This is their interior wash. It's kind of like a green. It's meant for military vehicles, but it just looks dirty after you kind of rub it in, and it looks like actual kind of dirty. So I didn't want the interior completely covered in like mud and stuff, because I'm sure they take care of the car inside. They wipe it down and stuff after the week of a race. So but that turned out pretty cool. Fire extinguisher we did in pure red, and the whole roll cage I just did it in this dull red. I mixed the dull red from Tamiya, which is their lacquer base paint, and I mixed a little bit of pure red because I didn't want that dull and I didn't want that dark. So that turned out really good, and it's going to look really good with the paint scheme that I have on the body. So I'm really happy about that, and that looks pretty cool. The engine is in that Flejo greenish color, kind of like the Pontiac color engines like they were. So that looks pretty cool. And of course we weathered and ground the whole engine and stuff with N.Y.S. by Meg. I'll show all that at the final review, but that looks pretty cool. Chassis, again, really nice. Of course we painted all of the aluminum padding in dull aluminum from Alcrad and masked it all off, and then painted the chassis in that roll cage chassis color, that dull red. So it looks pretty cool. Weathered it a little bit, dry shaft weathered white and stuff, and then of course we weathered the quick change axle, because I'm sure back there it gets the most dirtiest, because it's kicking up a lot of dirt and dust back there. I didn't want this thing covered in mud. I just want it kind of dusty, so that's why it's all like dust, because I do have like mud texture for N.Y.S, but I didn't want it like muddy, just kind of dusty. And yeah, so we just got done running and stuff. But yeah, that looks really cool. I'm really happy about that. This is about done. Like I said, just got to put the shroud in for the exhaust shroud, and that's pretty much about it. dashboard turned out pretty good. I kind of weathered it and dirtied it a little bit, kind of made it look kind of rough looking because again it's a modified race car, so they get a little rough. But yeah, that looks really cool. I'm really happy about that. And here is our body. This turned out really good. The body is the most worried thing about a 48-hour build, because especially with decals, when you matte clear it and stuff. This is a matte clear I've never dealt with, and I was afraid it was going to go to the decals, but it did not affect the decals at all, which I'm super happy about. This thing turned out so good. Really happy about that. I might fill in these headlight blockers and fog light blockers with aluminum, so I'll put it in aluminum and stuff, so that looks pretty cool. Same with the door handle block off. So that's that. I'm not going to weather and detail, or not going to weather this thing up too much. I might put a little dust here and there, but I don't want this thing covered in mud and stuff. Won't look like they actually wash the body after every single race, but the chassis, they don't get to it until they get to the shop and stuff, until they get it under the lift and wash the underside. So I'm going to make the body kind of very clean. So we're going to do that, and then I'm not sure I'm going to put a mesh in the grill, but I think it was pretty cool open, but we'll see about that. But yeah, the body turned out so cool with this navy blue and a titanium gold two-tone have going on here. It looks really cool. Of course, these are all like kit decals, or parts bin decals I just had laying around, and just kind of made my own race car. It looks really cool. Turned out so good. The only kit decal I used was literally the 400 cubic inch decal. That's literally it from the kit. But yeah, this thing turned out pretty cool. I'm really happy about this, and yeah, it's gonna look really good with that roll cage color. So we got some parts here. Oh, not much more we have to do. Here is the rear bumper. We did this in to polish aluminum, but I did it over dark primer, so it doesn't have that super shiny polish, because Alcrad recommends doing this over the black base, so it has that nice, beautiful, really shine polish aluminum look to it. But of course, I did not want it look like they actually just polish this thing, so did it in dark primer. And the same with the front bumper that goes up here on the grill. So that looks pretty cool, give it a little contrast. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. Here's our wheels right here, did them in white. Gonna better these up just a little bit. And the tires, I did not touch the tires yet, but we're gonna make the tires look kind of muddy and stuff. Not muddy, but dusty and stuff. So that looks pretty cool. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much about it. Our next video will be the final review, and we'll see how this thing turns out at the end. Just got done shooting that last video, and I totally forgot to show the time, and it is noon on Sunday. So not much, we have 8 hours left of this build, a little less, and then yeah, hopefully we can get it done. And here we are, we finally got her done, and this thing, it turned out really cool. I'm really happy how this thing turned out, and we spared a lot of time, actually, about 4 hours ahead, because we finished right around 4 o'clock. I finished right at 4 o'clock, actually, because, well, I just cleaned up a little bit, but man, I gotta say, this thing is awesome. It turned out really good. Haven't done a dirt modified race car like this in a very long time, so this was a good change for me, and it turned out fantastic. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to have more I'm gonna have a different video of more in depth about the build and tell you about the flaws and everything about this kit. So that will be coming out in the future. If you are watching this in the near future, then I'll leave a link down to that video in the description box below for the full-on final review on this build. But this thing, I gotta say, turned out pretty cool. And Greg, can't thank you enough for doing a 48-hour group build again. This is a fantastic group build. I think he had well over 100 people join in from literally around the world. It's really cool. He had some people from the UK. I mean, it's really cool. So fantastic. And Greg has done an absolutely outstanding job doing this group build. And looking forward for it next year if the Syracuse Nationals doesn't fall onto the same weekend. Luckily for this weekend, it did not fall onto it. I hardly spent any time on this build on Saturday because Saturday was such a beautiful day. Actually went to my dad and we actually went for a ride in the 77 Ford pickup. That was about 2-3 hours right there, and then I went out Saturday morning with my buddy to go pick up our RC car. So I hardly had any build time on this thing on Saturday. The only thing I did Saturday was paint the whole thing, and then that's pretty much about it. And then today, Sunday, I basically assembled it and weathered it, and it turned out so cool. So here is the chassis. Really neat. You know, obviously one of it's actually just got done with a race and stuff, and the whole engine is really cool. This whole engine setup with this, you know, the exhaust system, it's really unique looking, and it looks really cool. But yeah, I'm really happy about this. But all right, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it on the build series and stuff. And then again, links down below, or in the future when you're watching this now, I'm going to have a full-on in-depth video on the final review video on this build and tell you everything that I did to it. But all right, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and until my next video, I'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you.